California, just like a tree, and it has a name. If you ever want to meet it, it's General Sherman, and it's an amazing, amazing sequoia tree. You're not actually allowed to hug it, so I didn't tell you, but okay, this is gonna be awkward because I have notes in my hand and there's this slide too. But bear with me. Thank you, Ryan, for introducing us in prayer. I wanted to pray Hail Mary in intention of Our Lady of Guadalupe. You did it, so you're here. Here we go. Awesome. So if you want to follow along, we're on page 39 in your curriculum. If you want to open that, that'll be helpful to you. So, Men's and Women's Night. For some of you, it is a very beautiful experience that opens the hearts and minds of your students to something new. To healing from the Lord. Just beautiful blessing and grace. And to some of you, it's a very awkward, kind of begrudged night. And I don't want that to be the case anymore, and neither does the whole missions team. So here we are with a newly revamped Men's and Women's Night intro talk. So I'm going to kind of introduce the introduction and kind of share with you what this looks like in the context of the curriculum, the what, where, when, why, all of those things, and the objectives. So here we go. What can you expect? So from this talk, I'm going to give you the context and pitfalls and pointers, provide an example talk that should take 10 minutes or so, and confidence, I hope. Okay, so what is the goal? The goal of this new talk, I don't know why that sounds weird, is to learn what love is. I think in Times Previous and even on campus, we see just like a lot of success with JP2's approach to theology of the body, or the beauty of the church, the beauty of its laws, the beauty of the teachings of the church, and not so much this like hard, like shameful, guilty, finger-pointing kind of way of learning, right? So that's kind of where this is coming from, is we're trying to show the students what love is so that they know what it's not, just inherently. Kind of like Father earlier was talking about the gospel, and this lens gives you, just a beautiful way of looking at the church and why she does the things she does without even needing to say, like, hey, I don't know, something you did is wrong, you know? And yes, we need like help, and yes, we need to point things out to these students and help them in this walk towards virtue and towards true love. But hopefully this is an introduction to that. We're not going to open up a whole lot of things, but show them what it is first. So where does this happen? What is the context? After the curriculum. So if you don't have the context of the gospel, this isn't going to make sense, and it's not going to be as fruitful. So Father, thank you for your time today. Again, it's going to be 10 minutes long of an introduction, and then your small groups is like the main piece of the entire thing. So if you aren't prepared to lead discussion in your groups, this actually is going not to be very effective. You could have an awesome intro talk for 10 minutes, and then 15 minutes of very awkward silence. And we don't want that. So it is what you make it, just like Bible study is the same. So we're all very trained Bible study leaders, and I have confidence in all of you. Why? Why do we give this talk? Why do we talk about chastity on campus? Freedom, people. God desires our freedom in every single aspect of our life, and God desires us to be fully functional washing machines that don't have oil in them, and that are able to love and serve and know the Lord, and to be able to provide that love and knowledge and love of Jesus to the world as well. So I'm going to read this scripture. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, from the house of slavery. You guys, you already know it. Our students are enslaved to a lot of things, and hopefully this talk can just be breaking the shackles of one more thing in their life, so that they can experience the freedom and love of God. Okay, pitfalls and pointers. Okay, some pitfalls could be lecturing. This is kind of why we want it to be 10 minutes. You know, we don't need you to stand up here on stage in front of them and talk to them forever and lecture them and TOD and all these things and be a professor. I'm not qualified for that, and I don't know if you are, but you're not being asked to. False humility. Guys, like we've been saying, this whole safety training, you know so much more than people do. And this is just one more thing you actually know a lot about. And your own personal healing has led you through a lot of things and taught you a lot, and so is the outline. So you have everything you need. You don't need to worry. Poor timing could also be a pitfall. So if you haven't talked about the gospel, if you are really rushed. I had a mission trip where we were all gathered and kind of all opening up some really big cans of worms on chastity. And it is going around the circle, and this girl kind of opened up this trauma that she had never talked about with anyone before. And all of a sudden, it was like 5 minutes and we had to go to lunch. And it was so awkward, you guys, and it just did not dignify her or honor her, and I didn't know how to even respond to that as her missionary. I was like heartbroken, right? Because here she is saying something for the first time in her whole life, probably, and something maybe she's never addressed herself, and now she has to go eat lunch with a bunch of people and pretend to be okay and put on a smile, you know? So timing is really important. If you're able, put this before adoration, like we are going to do tonight. If that's not possible, just 5 minutes with Jesus after this talk is going to just open the gate for some healing and for the Lord to just pour His love into their hearts. The last one is we're not professional counselors. Some of you might be, I don't know. But for the most of us, we are not professionals. So we have the resources, we can point them to healing, we can point them to those things, but we're not expecting you to counsel them or to be inviting emotional dependence or any of those things for your students. How to prepare. So here's some pointers. Read. We have a curriculum for you, we have it open. There's an awesome outline for this talk. Pray. We want those things to ferment, like Ryan was saying, so we can be beautiful Puerto Rican songs. And this is just another element of that. The more we pray about these things, the more beautiful they can be. And then the last one is, I just want to make sure I highlight that there are highlighted terms in the outline. Some things that are important to know and understand how the church explains them, how she teaches about them, so that we can be good representatives of the church and of our Lord. You didn't see that. Okay, so here is my 10-minute talk. You're all on mission. Okay, so the other day, I was in the office and I was eating pizza with a man named Tyler, and he has this special recipe for the best pizza, and honestly guys, it really is good. We go to Guido's, and it's this awesome restaurant, there's these French people that make the best dough and the best pizza ever. Ask anyone on the team, Guido's is the best. Tyler says to me, I love pizza. And I was like, I was preparing for this talk, so it's kind of in my head a little bit. And I was like, I wish we had other words for love, because I just feel like you don't actually love that pizza, Tyler. I love my life, and I love this pizza. Okay. So that's kind of the context that we're going to be talking about today is like, what is love? And how can we understand it better? I hope you don't think poorly of Tyler. He's great. So now we get to talk about the four loves. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about C.S. Lewis's four loves and how the Greeks used to explain them. And that is what we're going to talk about a little bit. So there are Storge, Philia, Eros, and Agape. And C.S. Lewis wrote a great book about them, and I'm just going to briefly explain each of them. So this is fundamental. Before we begin, every one of these loves builds upon the last until we're at the divine. So we start from the bottom and elevate. So Storge is the first love. So it's the most basic human love. This is the love that we have from our parents. It's the love that we learn in our family. It's fundamental. It's unearned. It's undeserved. Like we don't even know that we have it really. Like our mom just loves us from the beginning, and that's kind of where we learn how to love and what that is like. But it can also be easily broken, and it's not a cognizant choice that you make, and it can be ruled by selfishness, which is just unfortunate. But it also doesn't need to be one. It doesn't discriminate. It's without coercion or force. It can be rooted in your traits you share or the experiences that you've had together. It's just basic, fundamental, shared love. Philia is the second type of love, and this love is rare because it requires virtue. And that is what this slide is for. That is my sister. Isn't she beautiful? Her name's Elizabeth, and when I was preparing this talk, I was thinking about Philia and about this virtuous love and how rare it is, and she's the first person that came to mind. She is my best friend, and if I talk about her for too long, I might cry. But she is wonderful. I thank God every day for her. She has been pursuing God and pursuing virtue beside me since we were kids. And we aren't perfect, we're human, we fall and we fail, but she came to visit me at Thanksgiving, and something that she said stuck with me a lot. She said, I love you, because I'm not afraid to be ugly around you. It was incredible. I had never thought about that. But she's like, I could be the worst version of myself around you, and I know that you still love me. And I was like, whoa. I know. I feel the same way. Like, I could wake up and just be cranky and horrible, and you'd still look at me and be like, hey, quit that. But I love it. And she, I hope, and I will hopefully be sister saints one day. We are working towards it and growing in virtue and love of our Lord. And I know that I can count on that whenever I see her, whenever I go home, and I'm praying for her all the time, united in the body of Christ with her. And Lewis says, to the ancients, friendship seemed the happiest and most fully human of all loves, the crown of life, and the school of virtue. Let me read that one more time. To the ancients, friendship seemed the happiest and most fully human of all loves, the crown of life, and the school of virtue. Guys, that's beautiful and amazing. And somehow, it gets better. God is just lavishing His graces and abundance upon us, and somehow it gets better. So we have Eros. Eros is this beautiful, passionate, dynamic, there just aren't words. It's atomic. It's huge. The world knows Eros as sex, and that's it. And that's so lame. There's so much more. And studying theology of love just a little bit can show you how beautiful it truly is. Guys, God's love for the church is Eros. When he talks about it in the Gospels, when he references the woman searching the entire house for one coin, that's a crazy woman. Or that one guy who's a shepherd, and he leaves all 99 of his sheep, his whole livelihood, to find one. That's an idiot. Or a man that chooses to die a gruesome, bloody, sweaty, horrible, humiliating death on a cross for you. That's crazy. He's crazy in love with you, and that's Eros. The last love is agape. This is the most divine and full love. It is true charity, and all four loves build to this one. It's all-consuming, unconditional, and Eros is a reflection of this love, the love that is found in the Trinity, and it's God's love for man. It's challenging to love this way because it requires sacrifice, it costs everything, and it gives without anything in return. It's completely selfless. And it's the goal of all relationships and the path to sainthood. So, you can't really skip around with these loves. They really do build on one another because, guys, I don't know about you, but I can't love agape right now. And neither can Peter, and that's what he tells the Lord. But that's why we have grace, and that's why we have the sacraments in the church. I want all of us to have that kind of love, and we'll get to talk more about that in our small groups. And I hope that this has given you an introduction to what love truly is and what you're made for. I told some stories. I used my own life. I used my sister, who is my best friend, to kind of share with you about what a type of love is. I talked about Tyler and widows. I talked about the Old Testament and the Gospels. So really using story is going to help you a lot to make this personal to you and to help your students. They're not going to remember these types of loves and like what definition you give in the Greek. They're going to remember a story. So, guys, I don't know about you, I don't know if you can use this anymore, but I will never forget about Evelyn and Sheelin, and that's the power of the story. You know what I'm talking about. So why did we change the format of this talk? I think you could answer that yourself. This is beautiful. This is true. And this is good. And that is how God gave us. And if we show our fellow students and missionaries how to live ordered life and how to live truly beautifully and good, then they're going to be motivated to be the sons and daughters that they deserve, and the things that our Lord wants them to be. So, thank you all for your time, and let's get the word out. All glory be to the Father, to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and shall